Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Insights. It is Monday, the 17th of July, 2023. Jess, are you putting a Christmas tree up or yet or what?
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's July. Like, it's wild. Every time I look at the calendar, I'm like, what? It is. It's Christmas in July, I guess.
Yeah, basically, like seriously, I still have mine up. So yeah, it's just easier that way. Anyway, welcome to this video, right? We wanted to get in contact with you and troubleshoot a few common areas that candidates have issues with, right? So let's say this video is basically for anyone who has potentially got a resume from us or from anywhere else and you're having issues after we've done what we do for you. So look, our resumes are split test can't even talk today. Split tested for applicant tracking systems, for AI systems, just to make sure that they are going to get you to the next stage, right? But like they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? What you do with that resume is 100% going to dictate your success. So we can do up like, the best resume ever, but depending on what you do with it, it will depend on your success rate. So in this video here, we're going to go through some of the troubleshooting tips that we give our candidates and even other people's clients when they come to us saying, oh, I bought a $50 resume off Gumtree and fucking this is what, and then this is what I'm getting nowhere. So Jess, let's start off with number one, right? Somebody purchases a resume and then they're having issues getting their job. What do we say to them next?
I think the first thing you do, we always say to our clients and anyone else, if you want to reach out to us, but reach back out to your consultant, reach back out to us, whether it's the info@winwin.com or your consultant directly, whether you've got their phone number or their email, reach back out to them and have a chat, because it could be something really simple that you're doing that they will pick up for you. From there, it's a matter of usually we check that you haven't changed the resume or cover letter, because 50% of the time that's usually what's happened. And then we go into full analysis of everything. We're analyzing your Seek and LinkedIn profiles, and we're going through some really simple things that people don't think about. And to be honest, 90% of the time it's a point of hire. We're looking at, you're applying for jobs in Queensland, but you're in WA. I think, or you've changed your address on your resume and you've got a Queensland address, but you're applying in WA. Like, it's usually something that simple. But if you don't have any idea about how all of that works, it can be really frustrating just getting those knockback emails when you've spent that money on that resume. What would be the next thing you would look at, Alana?
Right. Okay. Very first thing I say, right, if somebody comes back and they're having issues, I say, give me access to your Seek and your LinkedIn profiles, right? Because we do Seek and LinkedIn is all AI, right? It's all artificial intelligence. It is all based upon crossing the T's and dotting the I's, making sure that there are okay, I'll just say it this briefly. Check out the video on the Seek topic and the LinkedIn topics, right? Because this is a 10-hour bloody topic in itself. Seek, there are a squillion ways in which your profile can be set up incorrectly. So if you are applying for jobs, then you're just going to get knocked back. If you don't have the correct keywords, if you don't have the location, if you've got a salary expectation sitting at $100 squillion and then okay, let's be realistic, $110,000, but the job that you're applying for is only paying $75,000, right? Within our Seek profile for employer Seek profile, we can actually do searches in there. So we can put in this, and this, and then a ton of candidates' profiles will come up, so we can actually view them. If you've never been in the situation where you've seen through your own email, oh, this employer has downloaded your resume, then I would suggest that 1, your resume is probably not rated properly, 2, your profile's not rated properly, or 3, you've got your profile shut off. And that is another massive one. When it comes to profile visibility, if your profile is shut off so employers can't see it, then guess what? They can't see you, right? Why not do the easy way, like what Jess and I are always talking about? Get jobs without applying. If your profiles are set up properly, then that means employers can find you and they can offer you jobs. Isn't that so much easier than you having to do what every other candidate does and go through the process, apply, and then sit back and wait, to hear a no deal or a let's go through, whatever, good to go. Jess, what other sections in the candidate's profile, in their Seek profile, do you think could be potentially a hindrance for them actually being found in their Seek profile?
So another thing that we see all the time is like no current contact details, no phone number, sometimes no resume or 20 resumes that are from like 1985. And that's all things like we have so many of that it can be that simple, and it can be overwhelming. Some people are really, they haven't used these platforms before. They can be quite overwhelming. So we can do a free analysis of your profiles. If you've watched all our Seek and LinkedIn rants and you're like, I just don't even know where to start, email us at info@winwin.com, or email your consultant if we've done your resume, and we can do a free analysis for you. We even do a video of your profiles so you can see exactly where you're going wrong, and we can go through it with you and go from there, because it can be as simple as you've got your location set, you've got 20 different locations, or it's crazy. So you definitely need to know what you're doing.
Yeah. And look, Seek profiles as well. I've literally gone into people's Seek profiles. They have had multiple different resumes loaded in there with conflicting information, right? If an employer sees that, it's a red flag, red flag. This person was obviously like, telling some porkies somewhere down the track, considering none of their dates line up, none of their employers line up. Why do they have 20 resumes in their Seek profile, right? That can be one way in which you could be undoing your own good work. So this is what we've seen as well. Doing an analysis for one candidate, she literally had 12 different resumes, her old resumes, and they were different. And then she didn't even put in the one that we actually did for her. It's like, hello. So yeah, people don't know how to use things like that. Totally understand. So that is why, if you don't know how to do it, get somebody who does know how to do it. If your mum knows how to do it, ask your mum. If your friend knows how to do it, ask your friend. But if you want it split tested to applicant tracking system standards and AI coming from an employer's point of view, get us to do it. Seriously, it's not that, it's not that hard. The second thing, right, or third thing that I always say after, what are you doing with that resume, right? You send it out, okay, and then what do? Jess, what's the next troubleshooting section?
You call, you make those follow-up phone calls. And I know people these days, I feel like, are allergic to talking on the phone. Everyone wants to send an email or a text or a message, but you need to make those follow-up phone calls. And we could honestly do a whole video on how effective they are from the thousands of clients that we have every week that follow every single instruction that we give once they have their resume package or whatever they've purchased, that ring within a few days and say, I've been offered this job, I've got an interview here, I've got an interview there. It really is effective. You need to follow up. And if you can't find a phone number for whatever reason, well, then hunt down an email address or hunt down someone on LinkedIn and hustle until you get someone that you know that you have got a word through to them that you have applied for this job and you're really keen and you'd like to know how your application is progressing.
Absolutely. Through our Job Jump Starter package, we make you do follow-up phone calls. We take you through hand in hand. We can even do some little practice sessions with you so that you know what you're saying when you get to that employer. The whole key point is be professional and give value. Don't waste their time. A busy recruiter doesn't want to hear blah, blah, blah. They just want to be like, hey, how you going? I've just submitted my resume for this job. Have you received it? That's all you need to do as an opener to break that ice. If you really want to extend that into ultimate sales tactics, you go, I understand that you're busy, right? Mitigate that negative. So I'll make this quick. Hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. Have you received my application? Bang. Obviously, you're not going to say it like that, but be professional and be straight to the point. No wishy-washy. Oh, how's your day? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you can do that to build that rapport, but they want to know who the hell is this person, blah, blah, blah. In true form, we've actually had jobs where we put them out on Seek. We got an application. We called that person right then and there, shortlisted them. What do most candidates do, Jess? They sit there and do nothing. Am I right?
Yeah, and they wait for that, oh, sorry, you're unsuccessful, and they whinge about it. But you really need to hustle and follow up, because we've had people that we've listed jobs and, we've shortlisted it down to a few, and we've had someone call a couple of times and had a chat to them, and we've ended up putting them through to an interview to the client, because we were like, yes, this person is showing initiative, they're stepping outside their comfort zone, they're keen to work, they want this job, like, let's give them a shot. Like it's really effective.
100%. So that is squeaky wheel your way into your dream job. It's the best way to do it, and it's the most effective way, because most candidates are going to send out that application on Seek or Indeed or whatever, and then they sit back doing nothing, right? This is where it's your perfect opportunity to go, what am I going to do? I can either do what they're all doing and get the results of sit back, pray to baby Jesus that I'm going to get the job, or I can hustle and squeaky wheel my way into that job. That is what you, my friend, who are watching this right now, is going to start doing. All right, yeah. Jess, let's talk about another way in which you can potentially mitigate or even squeaky wheel your way in utilizing your LinkedIn profile, or should I say be found.
Well, for starters, your profile has to be SEO rated. It has to be perfect. It has, your picture has to be professional. You have to have your profile all filled out perfectly. And then you need to find those recruiters. You need to hunt them down, and you need to message all of them until one of them answers you back.
Yeah, exactly. This is why our Job Jump Starter package gets results so bloody quickly, literally within minutes. It's all about, again, being professional, finding that right person, and not being afraid of rejections. This is one thing that we find a lot of candidates, they're like, oh, I don't really want to make a phone call. Oh, what about if I get a rejection? What about if you get accepted into the job? What about if that is the catalyst for you to get that job? 100%. And like the profiles as well, LinkedIn, if you're not on LinkedIn, you don't exist, right? Because no offense, that's where all the recruiters are. So why not go to where those right people are, who can actually say, yes, this candidate's profile looks amazing. I was able to find the candidate's profile for one. There are so many different ways in which your profile can stand out over others. And that is what, again, if you need help with that, get in contact with us, blah, blah, blah. Or check out the squillions of free, I don't know why I keep saying squillions. Anyway, my new word. Check out all the free content that we've done, right? Anyway, whatever. Okay, moving on. What happens next, Jen? If somebody...
Next is your resume is all beautiful and perfect. We've checked it out. We've made all the changes back that you changed once we sent it out to you. We've checked your profiles. They're all great. And so now you need to get applying again. You also need to make sure that you're applying for roles that you've got a chance of getting. And we've had so many people that we've gone in and troubleshooted for them. They've come back a month later and said, oh my God, I'm just getting knocked back for everything. We've gone, okay, we've gone into their accounts, and they're a hospitality worker. They've got no experience, no licenses, never operated a thing other than a blender behind a bar, and they're applying for a geologist position. We have actually had that happen. So you need to be realistic about what you're applying for, and that's another thing we can help you with, is figuring out where your skills are transferable to, and realistically what's going to be your foot in the door. And we have so many people that are utility snobs and don't want to go in as a utility. But honestly, it is the best way. And if you have no experience, no qualifications, especially if you've done hospitality or a support worker role or anything like that, getting your foot in the door as a utility is awesome. And it doesn't have to be a long-term plan. We have people make this happen we had someone come that had only ever been a cleaner. She went in as a utility. She did 2 swings and boom, got a dump truck traineeship because she followed this 2-step plan perfectly, followed all the advice, and it can literally be that easy.
Absolutely. And it's also, setting yourself up for success at the start, right? Meeting that minimum criteria. We're constantly going on about that, right? And, people come to us and like, oh, yeah, but I want this job. And so, well, you don't have the qualifications. And in no way am I saying, again, if you're, let's use that real life scenario of what happened. A guy came from Macca's. He was told, buy these get an excavator ticket. You'll walk into a $180,000 excavator role. No, you're not going to, unless your brother-in-law is the superintendent. Right. So meet the minimum criteria. If you don't meet that minimum criteria, just like what Jess was saying, if you're applying for jobs that are, experience, you need to have 2 years experience operating the X, Y, and Z. If you don't have that, then sorry, you don't meet the minimum criteria. So you're setting yourself up to fail from the beginning. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like there's so many drillers offsider roles. You can always get a job as a utility. And I know they're two roles that a lot of people are not comfortable or they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. But if you're really keen and you have your goals set and you have that 2-step plan in place, it can be an awesome foot in the door either way.
Definitely. And setting yourself up as well, comes down to knowing what can bite you, right? If you have a police certificate with a rap sheet as long as your arm, and the jobs that you're going for are, let's say, drillers offside a role, where you 1,000,000% need to submit a police certificate to them, and then you've got all this stuff on there, then quite frankly, you're setting yourself up basically to be rejected from the start. So doing a little bit of research into what you want, where you are, what qualifications and what ways that you could potentially be bitten by it is like, the way that you succeed when you're going forward. Also, some things, right, that we've seen candidates fail on are pre-employment medicals. Okay, there are so many other ways, right, and so many ways in which you can fail a pre-employment medical. People think, oh, whatever, I'll just breeze through it. There are tests, spirometry tests. If you're asthmatic, like me, that can be one of the biggest challenges. So make sure you shoot some Ventolin before you go in, right? Even like, weight or your hearing or a ton of different ways that you can fail. We've seen people fail these, so make sure that you set yourself up for success. So let's say, even actually, we just kind of jumped a step there. My bad. Sorry. Let's talk about interviews, Jess. Right. This can be one way in which people just bomb the interviews, and then next minute they're crying to us, oh, the resume is not working. And it's like, actually, the resume got you to the interview. You bombed the interview. So this can be one of the ways as well. Jess, go into a couple of fundamentals.
We have this happen quite a lot, and it can be like interviews are awkward for everybody. Like everybody feels a bit nervous and a bit awkward in an interview. It's all about preparation, and we can help you with that. We do have an awesome Interview Like a Boss online course, which once you purchase it, you keep it forever, so you can use it and prep and practice before every interview. Or we can do a one-on-one interview session with you for an hour. But it's really about being prepared. You need to sit down and think about what your answers are going to be. We've banged on about it enough that you must know, if you've watched some of our interview videos, some of the main questions they're going to ask you, why do you want this job, or why do you think you're the best candidate for this job? You need to come up with some good answers for those. Why do you like this company? There's a few questions that you really need to practice and have a practice, and really, even if you read them to yourself in the mirror, it sounds really stupid, but it really does help to just practice and have that in your head. Have notes there when you're doing your interview. Have a chat to the recruiters, build that rapport, make some small talk, tell them you're nervous. I'm really nervous. I love this job. I think I'm really qualified for this, but I feel like maybe I don't interview well. So any feedback you guys could give me would be awesome. Be very, very prepared.
Yeah, definitely. And if you need to do an interview preparation session, that is what we do. We do it exactly like this, right? Especially as we know going forward, there are so many companies that use the virtual online interviews. So being able to see yourself on camera, the way that you respond, the fact that you're saying every sentence, those are some things that you can, once you're aware of it, you're more able to stamp them out, so you can make a better first impression, because you don't want to go to an interview and every single sentence you're like, you know what I mean? So it's all about your presentation. First impressions count, and they especially do count on the virtual interviews, right? So some people take those, use a more relaxed approach, but no, it is an interview. You are being analyzed for your mannerisms, the way that you speak, the specific terminologies that you are bringing up, right? Those are a perfect opportunity for you to hammer them with your knowledge of the industry or the job that you're going for. This is where we find, when we're doing the interview preparation sessions, we close that gap. Your experience of what you've been doing and the job that you're going for, there are always ways in which you can be verbalizing key answers that are going to showcase your skills about that job that you're not even working in yet, but you want to get, right? Really, really simple. So if you need help with that, let us know. We can sort it out for you and turn you into an absolute interview beast, where you go in there and that interview, by the end of it, is like, oh my God, please come and work for us. Yeah, here's more money. Okay, maybe that's not the thing, but anyway. All right, Jess, what else? What other ways in which can people fail and that we might might work out trouble.
Big one that we see a lot of the time is not being able to contact them. So we've set up their resume, we've set up their profiles, everything's perfect. They've gone furiously and applied for 20 jobs, and then they come back 4 weeks later and say, well, I haven't got anywhere, I haven't got any jobs, blah blah blah. So we try and call and email them, and we can't get a hold of them. And then sure enough, we talk to other recruiters or other jobs or people that we referred them to. No, we couldn't get a hold of them. They didn't email back, they didn't answer their phone call, they didn't call me back. So it's kind of a done deal. You must be contactable. If you are applying for jobs, have a voicemail set up and check that voicemail and actually respond to people within a timely manner. Like, they're not going to wait around for you for a week because you're on holiday or, you've got better things to do. You really need to be able to be contacted via email and via phone.
Yes. There is a thing called the recruiter's too hard basket. And if you go into it, they're just going to move on to the next candidate, right? If they can't contact you, they can't contact your references. That is a big one as well. And we've actually come across this with a candidate who they should have been getting jobs left, right, and center. And then we're like, where are we going wrong? All right, let's contact their references and actually do a reference check. One of their reference, oh my God, you would never hire this person based upon what their reference said. This is a real life scenario, right? So if you're just chucking on references as well without actually calling them to say, hey, I'm going for this job, do you reckon you can do a reference for me? If they say, yeah, no worries, all good, then great. Just make sure you're getting people who legitimately will do a good reference for you. But the too hard basket, if you go into that with the recruiter, keep in mind they want to fill that role fast. Okay, so if you're like wishy-washy, you're not getting back to them, you don't have all the information that they need, your qualifications that for the job that was listed in the job advertisement clearly listed on your resume. If they're not, you might get filtered out, or firstly, if you get past ATS, that'll be amazing. But then, if the recruiter has to constantly chase you for information, too hard basket. Sorry, mate, I'm going on to the next candidate who's given me everything that I need, who's good for the job and who can pass the interview, who can pass the medical. Happy days. Yep. That's it. So look, troubleshooting. I think we have well and truly covered every single aspect here, Jess. So the main thing is, if you purchase a resume, a service, like from not only from us, but from anyone else, right? We would be more than happy to help you to troubleshoot where you're going wrong, right? It's a simple checklist of going over all the things that we've just mentioned here, right? And just think to yourself, oh, am I potentially going to fail the pre-employment medical? Have I given the recruiter everything that they need? Am I answering my bloody phone, right? That can be a big one. Anything else to add on that, Jess?
It's usually something really simple that you haven't even thought about if you don't do this all the time. Like it could, it can be really simple. And like Alana said, whether we did your resume or whether someone else did it, get in touch. We can analyze, we can go through an analysis of your resume and of your profiles and actually see where you're going wrong and try and help you troubleshoot this, because it can be really disheartening if you're really keen to get that FIFO job, you've paid money for a resume and you're not getting anywhere. It can kind of be like, oh well, maybe it's not for me, but it usually is a simple fix and we're happy to help you. So yeah, send your details through info@winwin.com.au or hit us up on social media. We can go through and help you troubleshoot if you can't figure out what's going wrong.
100%. And can I just chuck in one more thing? Mentality, right? Do you actually believe you're worthy of getting that job? We've had people set them up, basically, like I always say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a drink. So we're going to push you in, right? And like what we try to do is okay, yeah, where are you going wrong? Troubleshoot. They give up, If you really want something, you do not stop until you get it. And sometimes it's a case of law of averages, especially if you're like one of the people that come to us who are like, all I want is a dump truck traineeship. Well, guess what? You've limited your own chances right there. So when one of those jobs goes out and BHP gets 10,000 applicants within the first week and then pulls the job, guess what? Your chances have gone down quite significantly. But does that mean that it's not going to happen? No, it just means that you need to be more targeted in your approach, potentially use that two-step plan and just believe in yourself. If you don't get what you want, it's probably because you've given up. And like, I don't know, Jess, have you ever seen that cartoon where it's a guy with a pickaxe going towards and there's diamonds on the other side, and there's two pictures. There's the one of him giving up and going back, and there's the one of him, he's just about to hit it, right? That is exactly it. We've had candidates come to us just last week. Even I got an email from a lady. She was applying, she was trying to like go through the system, and then she's like, oh my God, you would not believe this, 6 months later, and like last week I got 4 different like requests to do interviews, and I got offered all these different jobs in the mining industry, her first mining industry as a teacher. So yeah, coming from a teacher and now working as a site admin, like it's amazing. If you want it, don't stop until you get it, right? But also make sure that you've troubleshot any of the things that we've just mentioned.
And definitely, you really need to get out of your comfort zone, especially like for a lot of people, even just doing all these applications, doing interviews, and even working FIFO, maybe as a utility or an offsite or a trade assistant or something else until you get that traineeship that you really want, can be really daunting. But you just have to get outside of that box. It will be the best experience of your life. Alana and I always say, like, we love FIFO. If we didn't have kids and fur kids, we'd both be working FIFO.
Oh, yes. Somebody give me a truck driving job again.
Yes, honestly, it will be the best time of your life. You will meet the best friends. You will have the best time. And if you are going for your first FIFO job and you're terrified and you're worried and you're flying to site, hit us up on our group. We've got a little buddy system we're starting, so we can try and hook you up with someone we know on the site, so that you've got someone that can, you can hang out with or have dinner with, because that can be really scary too.
Yeah, and actually stay tuned. I've just created a brand new course, which is all about preparing for your first FIFO job. So this is literally the course that everyone wishes they had before they went for their first FIFO job. It explains how to get prepared, luggage hacks, about how to maximize the space in your luggage, about communicating, about what carrier you need to take, everything. It goes through what your room looks like, how to prepare for that, how to even prepare for like little things, right? And we've got the best tips from people who've worked in the mining industry. This is the mini course that every miner wishes they would have seen. And if you're even contemplating whether this lifestyle is for you, this could be a good bit of an insight. So you could be like, oh, hang on, how am I going to deal with that aspect of the job? So stay tuned for that. It's rolling out within the next week or so. And that's it. Hopefully this has been helpful, and feel free, if you've got any questions to do with mining, recruitment, how to get your first job, interview techniques, resumes, absolutely anything that we've spoken about today, info@winwin.com.au. We can gently push you into your first or next FIFO job. Anything to add, Jess?
Oh, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for watching. See you next week.